I'm Brittany Lewis, a breaking news reporter here at Forbes. Joining me now is Congresswoman Lateefah Simon. Congresswoman, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you because I can only imagine how busy your week must have been. And as we know, on Tuesday night, President Donald Trump delivered an address to a joint session of Congress. Trump, in the speech, it was over 90 minutes. He declared America is back. It was partisan in nature, and some Democrats protested, including yourself. So I do want to get into that. But first, can you describe, while you were in the room, what was the mood like?
You know, I have been doing community work, leading institutions, working with unlikely allies for 30 years. I have never felt what I felt in that chamber. The divisiveness coming from the other side of the aisle was stark. It was visceral. The other thing that was really interesting, and it's one thing to watch it on C-SPAN or CNN or, the other networks. It's the other thing to be in that chamber and to be a Democrat and look out on the left side of the aisle and to see all of America represented, all that we are, every faith, every background, wealthy and working class, everything in the middle, and to see the beauty, the strength that we have collectively weaved together as a country, and really then look on the other side of the aisle and see a monolithic tone, both in politics and background. We want an America, at least I do, many of us do, that brings us together, that doesn't separate and segregate. And that was on full display for all to see. So, of course, being disappointed at the Republicans for lifting up that reality that they don't value diversity. They don't value what is so central to this country, inclusion. But moreover, when the president began speaking, it was just lie after lie. It was a punching down. It was hypocrisy. It's bringing a beautiful child who is fighting for their lives and their parents, child's parents, into the spotlight, knowing all the well that this administration is gutting cancer research for juveniles. It was extremely hard to watch. It was hard to, in that moment, be in a space where you knew that this democracy is in hospice, that we might not have years if we continue to move. That's not fear mongering. It's not hyperbole. It is a fact. When the executive branch continues to ignore the words of the court, the rulings of the federal bench, there's trouble ahead. And so there was a moment when he began talking about Social Security, and you see 40+%, about 44% of the population in my district, they're elders, they're disabled folks, they're low-income folks. 44% of folks in my district receives Medicaid or Medicare. And these cuts are extremely real. They're coming and we know it. To hear the president talking about caring for these folks, knowing he is going to tear our lives apart, knowing that rural hospitals in rural America will in fact close, knowing that when he talks about honoring Social Security, knowing what's in ink right now in this administration, which will move just in 2 weeks, the gutting of Social Security and the Department of Education. There's only so much disrespect for the American people that I could watch. I went back to my office and I worked. I began to prepare for the hearings the next day to tell the truth, not just for the folks in my district, but really, I believe the voices of folks who may have even voted for this president. They didn't vote for a president that was going to attack farmers by cutting them off at the neck, cutting their USAID contracts, where we now have produce rotting all over the country. They didn't vote for this tyranny. They didn't vote for an oligarchy. So we went back to work, and I'm in early in this office, and I'm leaving late every single day to make sure that I'm talking to people around the country. We have a democracy to save.